I always like to see what dudes are drinking throughout the day.
So I actually just started a part-time job at Dick's, and they sell these uh in their little fridges. And I had my first one, and I was like, "Damn, those are bomb!" So I figured out like where they sell them, which is at like GNC, and they're really healthy for you. So I used to drink Monsters all the time, but I think these are a little better than those.
What is it? I'm guilty of drinking Monsters as well. I've gotten into the Celsius game lately, but what's that? I'm open to new stuff.
These are called Alani's,
Okay.
and
No.
they have like like the popsicles you'd eat when you were a kid, or like blue, white, red. They have that
Yeah.
flavor, the rocket
No
pop,
way.
those are bomb. And then they have like this one's like a cotton candy. It's like real good.
I'm gonna definitely need the bomb pop flavored one because that's my favorite drink from childhood, or favorite popsicle rather. I don't know why I said drink.
I think they sell them at Giant Eagle too.
Nice. I'm gonna have to track those down. Maybe we need to get Alani to sponsor 247, and then we can get these drinks everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, sorry I even mentioned them. No free shout outs.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go, Alani. There's what you get for free. You got to talk to us if you want more. That's awesome, dude. I noticed the shirt too, Kill Switch Engage. I didn't realize you were a metal fan, man. What's up?
Yeah,
What's up?
huge metal fan. I've actually seen them like 4 times live. So
are they tops for you? Top band?
Yeah, they're probably my favorite band. Like ever since the Alive or Just Breathing album, and they were like brand new. They've been my favorite band since I was probably in like middle school.
Dude, I mean they're iconic for that genre. Are you a Howard guy or a Jesse Leach guy, or both?
I'm a big Jesse Leach guy. And one of my other favorite bands, which is essentially just like a spin-off of Killswitch, is Times of Grace. So
Times of Grace, that album was so good, man. I still listen to that album sometimes. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually saw Jesse Leach one time. I was working for a different outlet at the time, actually covering the Pirates. I was at PNC Park covering a Pirates game. And like when you cover a baseball game, you get there super early and then they let you into the clubhouse so you can talk to the players, talk to the manager. And then you've got like 2.5, 3 hours of downtime before the game actually starts. So like you can do your interviews, like you can transcribe your interviews, get an article out, like do whatever you need to do between the games. So usually I would like leave the stadium and get food. And I went to a little, I forget what pub it even is, right there by PNC Park, like across the street, like across from North Shore Tavern. I got like a steak salad at this little sub pub. And when I was walking out, dude, Jesse Leach was on the corner waiting to cross the street. And like, I recognized him right away. I'm like, no way. And I'm not the guy that like usually wants to ask for pictures or like, you know, be that weird guy, but like we're literally standing on the corner beside each other waiting to cross the street. So I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Are you Jesse Leach? Like, I just asked him. He's like, yeah, what's up, man? So apparently they were playing at Stage AE that night. We talked a little bit. So I didn't know they were in town. Like I had to work anyway, obviously. Like I wouldn't have been able to go anyway, but yeah, Jesse Leach was sick, man. He said he loved Pittsburgh and loved the food here and always loves coming here. He was super nice. I don't know. Did you ever meet any of them?
So actually, the second time I saw them, it was Volbeat headline. Killswitch was opening up for them, and me and my cousin were sitting like in the seats because it was a venue in Baltimore, it's Pier 6, where they don't have an open floor, that it's all seats. So we're all standing up in our seats, and we're like, they're starting to come out on stage, and he's already singing, but we can't see him. I'm like, where the hell is he? Like we're looking all around for him, and I'm like looking at my cousin, like I don't know where he's at. Like this is wild. And then he's sitting right next to me,
nice,
just singing his lyrics. He's just sitting right next to me singing. We were like,
dude,
no,
awesome.
Leach right here. It was sick.
Dude, that is sick. Yeah, that's a really cool experience, man. I've never seen them live. Like, I like them a lot. Like you said, I even like Times of Grace a lot. I like Killswitch a lot, but I've never seen them live. And all my friends that have seen them say that they're just phenomenal live. Funny enough, I actually did see Howard's band. I forget the name when he started his own thing. They opened up at a show I was at one time. So I have seen Howard live, but never actually Killswitch.
Yeah, Killswitch sounds, if not better, in person than on their albums.
I love bands like that, man. That's always like the mark of a real band to me, or like true musicians, is when they can do it live, you know, without there's a lot of bands that play to backing tracks and stuff like that too that could be deceiving. But like whenever it's really them playing and it sounds just as good or better and it's got that energy, man, I love that.
Yeah, I honestly have a hard time listening to like live music if it's not like at least like rock or where they're like playing their own instruments. Because like not dissing country or anything, but I went to a country concert recently and I was like, they're not even playing their own music.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That's a lot of it.
He's kind of like a stage like a stage act, you know.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you're basically just playing the CD over the speakers and then lip syncing over it or singing here and there over it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, yelling the city that they're in to get them all hyped up. Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's all.
Dude, I mean, my sister and my wife, for that matter, are huge country music fans. So I've been to these country shows as well, like the huge one, the Kenny Chesneys, the Taylor Swift, like all these things. That's all it is like an excuse to go party. Like I don't think any of them actually care about the music itself necessarily.
Yeah.
Like it's more just about going out and getting smashed and having a good time.
Yeah, I mean that's cool too if that's your thing. But
yeah,
I like going to concerts to listen to music. I can go somewhere else to party if I want to party. You know,
absolutely. So, who would be your top 3? Like we got Kill Switch. Like who else would you throw in there? Times of Grace doesn't count.
Oh man. All right, so like top 3 like ever.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not like ranking them based on like how good I think they're. That's just the bands I like. Kill Switch Engage, Lamb of God. Oh man. And it would either be between All That Remains or Trivium probably.
Dude, those are all banger choices, man. I love it. Lamb of God would be top 3 for me as well, for sure. Definitely one of my favorite bands of all time. They're incredible.
I would probably actually say Trivium 3 over All That Remains, because recently All That Remains' albums have been like, I don't know, it seems like they're trying to hit like the radio audience now. So
I agree. I definitely agree on that. I think Trivium did that for a second and now is like back to themselves. Like their last few albums have been really strong again. And Trivium, when I was in high school and like I was first starting to play guitar and stuff, Trivium was literally my favorite probably. Like the Trivium could do no wrong to me. Like the Ascendancy album was unbelievable, and then Shogun when I was in college came out and that one was unbelievable. Like they just couldn't miss for a while.
The Strife album was really good. That came out when I was like about to graduate high school.
That's crazy.
And
so young.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, that sounds really good. Because I had always liked them, but I was like, they kind of sound a little different. Like their In Waves album I didn't really like. And then when they came out with that after that, I was like, okay, that sound like they're getting back to themselves a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I don't know if you knew, Matt Heafy is actually, I want to say he's like a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He's definitely super into jiu-jitsu at least. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I like kind of started fighting, because I didn't know what was what. But yeah, I didn't know that now. I didn't know he's like a brown belt already. I think he goes like one of those Gracie gyms out there where he lives.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is like Gracie Orlando or something like that. But he's I actually interviewed him one time back when I worked for Flow Combat, and he was amazing, man. Like he's another dude that's just a super nice guy. Like he's super invested in everything. I don't know if you've seen like his Twitch channel and stuff. Like he's making money in so many different ways. He's such a smart businessman to emulate.
Well, he does, like when he goes on Twitch, he goes on and he like performs on there, right? He like goes on there and like does like covers and stuff like that.
Exactly.
He doesn't game on there, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. He performs, so it's like double smart because you're just like promoting your music and promoting what you do, or like you said, playing covers just to attract new fans and things like that. He's smart, man. Definitely somebody to watch. Like if you're interested in the business side of things, he's really figured it out, I think, in like the modern age.
Yeah, I've seen them live too. I like him. I like the band. Their new drummer's really good. I like their new drummer.
He is, and I loved their original drummer. Obviously, like when I first, the first time you hear a band, I think you're always attracted to that lineup the most, right? Like you just love those guys. So it was like kind of sad when he left, but the new guy sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same for Lamb of God. Like, it's hard to imagine Chris Adler not being their drummer, but the new guy's just he's really good, honestly. Like, you can't tell much of a difference.
Yeah. Chris Adler, he went to where did he go? He went to
I
Megadeth, right? I thought wasn't he doing Megadeth for a while?
He may have been. Like, I know Megadeth shuffles the deck a lot with their lineup, so he definitely may have been, but if he was, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I heard it's because Dave Mustaine could be a dick.
I've definitely heard that about him too, man. Anybody with long red hair is a dick, dude.
Yeah.
These are the rules. But yeah, dude, that's crazy. So I literally had no idea you're such a big metalhead. Do you play any instrument? Like most metalheads, it seems like play. You're just into it.
Yeah, it's one of my things I like. I'm jealous of when people can like shred a guitar. I wish I could do that, but I've tried to learn, and I think it just takes so long, and you got to be so talented to do it, and you have to put in so much time to get good at it. I was like frustrated that I couldn't do it right away, so I kind of just like never tried after that.
Yeah.
But I would like to, like, if I could be patient enough to be like, okay, like I could do it maybe eventually, then I think I would want to for sure. I have a nice guitar at home. It's my dad's, but I don't know how to play it now.
Nice. I mean, I would say if you got the commitment and the resolve to train all the time like you do, you definitely could learn guitar like with the same discipline. I think like clearly you got that discipline in you, so that would go a long way, but it is something that it just takes time. It's like I tell everybody, I've been playing since I was like 13, 14 years old, so literally more than half my life at this point, which is crazy to think. But everybody, it's like, what do I need to do to play? And it's like, just play. Like, that's all
Yeah,
I did. Like, there's no secret. It's just like jujitsu or anything else. Like, there's no secret lesson you can take to just become a black belt really fast. Like, get in
yeah,
there every day and train. Like, that's it. Everybody knows the way.
yeah. I think once I adapt that mindset or adopt that mindset and put it to the guitar, I could definitely one day see myself becoming like overly obsessed with it, like I am with fighting right now. Even to sometimes like a fault, like it's like just in my head all the time. But I think if I would do that with guitar, I would be happy like 20 years from now, like looking back, being like, okay, I started then, so I can actually like, play now. So
Yeah, just start out, learn like a nice, easy little kill switch song, like the main riff of My Curse or something like that, and then just
yeah,
get going.
yeah. I took
But
a lesson in college, and they were just like string little pieces together. So I think of it like just stringing some combos together. I don't
there you
really
go.
know how to like play it, but I can string some combos together.
I think that makes sense. And honestly, like listening to metal, it seems like a lot of people that don't understand metal, it is like a slightly more complicated kind of music than your typical pop or whatever, like it's got
Oh
a little
yeah,
more technicality. Like I'm sure you can feel the breakdowns and feel the rhythms and things like that. So you have a leg up when you do start, I think, just listening to metal for so long.
yeah, and that's what annoys me when people are like, "Oh, they're just screaming." It's like, dude, you go try and play that instrument that fast. Go see how you sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or even just try to scream. That's one of my favorite things. Like, oh, he's just screaming. Okay, go ahead, do it. Like
Yeah, go
sound
blow your
sound
voice
like him.
out.
Dude, there's actually a great video. This guy, Jared Dines, he's like a YouTube guitar influencer. Like he's a huge YouTube account for guitar and stuff.
Mhm.
But he has like a real funny edge, and he literally just goes to like metal shows and asks people to scream into the microphone, like try to do a scream vocal. It's like everybody thinks, oh, they're literally just screaming, but everybody who tries it just sounds so bad. Like it's so
Yeah,
terrible.
that's
Yeah.
fun.
But dude, obviously this isn't the Pittsburgh Metal Podcast, although
Which
maybe
I'm
it
down
should
to
be.
start.
Honestly, like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm kind of down for that right now too. I think that would be awesome. I could definitely talk about this all day.
yeah,
But obviously, you talked about you training. So for people who don't know, Anthony Hogeback, 2-1 amateur bantamweight right now, trains at Stout. Obviously, under some of the best instructors in the city. You got a fight coming up. I believe it was August 27th, right?
yep,
That's for Rocket Combat Sports out in Virginia, who honestly, we've heard nothing but good things about them. I've never had any personal experiences with that promotion, but I have worked with fighters and coaches who have worked with them, and they all have really good things to say about that promotion. So it sounds like they're doing great things out in Virginia, and I love that. So how'd this fight come to be, man? I know obviously we would love to have you fighting for us, and we tried like heck for July 9th and just could not get an opponent in time. So that was a little bit of a kick in the nuts for us, but life goes on, man. Now you got to fight in August, and then hopefully we'll be looking at you for one of our October shows after that. But obviously this one's first, man. What are you seeing in this fight?
Yeah, I was trying to find a fight for like a really long time, actually. It's like I fought in November, and then like the day after that I got COVID, and then that kind of kicked me in the balls for a couple of months because it hit me hard, like really bad. And then I was probably good around like January, like late January. So I wanted to find a fight, and ever since then I've just been like pull out, find someone, actually no, they can't. They say they're not training enough or whatever have you. So I've been trying for months to get a fight, and my head coach in Maryland, who's still my head coach, Rob McCraw, has a really good relationship with Rocket Combat Sports and all those Virginia promotions because we send our guys there a lot. And they said they had a guy for me. I was like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it because they've told me that at least 3 or 4 times already.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, are you good to go? And I said, I'm always good on my side. And then they sent back an opponent, and then before I knew it, they had released a poster, and it was a done deal. So I'm just honestly happy that I have a fight. Juan Willett, I don't know how to say his name all the way. I think his name's Juan Willett. I've watched a couple of his fights. He's dangerous, likes to throw stuff hard right from the start. So has a bunch of fights. So I'm not stepping in there against, fresh meat. So I'm excited to test my skills and show my improvements. And I've been, I haven't had a fight since November, but I've been training, every day, every day I can. So I've been putting the work in.
I think it's also important to note with Juan that he has a pretty sick Batman tattoo here on his chest, so he gets some bonus points for that.
Tattoos are expensive, and I really want a bunch of them. So I'm actually pretty jealous of his tattoos. He has some nice tattoos.
Yeah, dude, expensive. They hurt. You would have to take a couple of days off training while it heals. Obviously, you don't want to smear blood all over the mats and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, dude, I mean, I think it's going to be an awesome fight. Like you said, I looked up Juan just a little bit before we started talking, obviously, so I had an idea of what he was. He has an interesting record to me. I didn't dig into his opponents too much, but I mean, fighting for B2 and Rocket Combat Sports before, like, I'm sure he's had pretty quality opponents. It's like he fights for reputable promotions, which is always a good thing, but has a couple submission wins, a couple submission losses. Like, I don't really know what that says about his ground game exactly, but what have you seen from him? What are you and your team kind of preparing for in August?
I know that he likes to try and take your back real quick. So I just got to be really cognizant of that. But I honestly feel like my jiu-jitsu is better than his. So if he wants to start playing that jiu-jitsu game with me, I'm cool with that too. But I really want to show off my striking in this fight because I've been putting in so much time striking because I feel like in all of my fights I haven't been able to really show my skill striking because whether it be just the pressure of it actually being fight night or once I get in there, I like see something that I, can exploit or feel like I'm better at, which has been the grappling in all of my fights, except for my second one, maybe. I just I've been going like the easiest route of resistance or whatever that saying is. And then I just want to really show my striking in this fight. I feel like I've been coming to win a competition in my last 3 fights, and I want to come to fight this fight. So that's my goal.
Well, obviously that's exciting for anybody planning on watching the fight. That's, that sounds like the makings of a really good scrap. How do you think you do that exactly? Because like you said, maybe in your past fights, you kind of took the path of least resistance kind of deal. Like, how do you prepare yourself for a fight versus a competition? Like, what does that look like? Is that something you consciously focus on in training, or is that just kind of a mindset that you need to warm yourself up to? What does that look like for you?
Well, like when I'm sparring and stuff with MMA, just boxing, whatever kind of striking sparring I'm doing, I move a lot. And because I move a lot, I typically don't get hit that cleanly a lot. So I think when I'm in fight, when I get in the fight and I get hit, I'm like, oh shit, time to grapple kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been working really, just stand in the pocket, and just be okay with getting hit. Like every time I get touched, it's not going to be, my lights out. I have a chin. I haven't been knocked out or anything like that in training or anything. So I feel like I'm pretty, I have a lot of hits to take. So just being okay with being in the pocket, kind of being in the fire, I think is going to help a lot.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing, I think, to practice, right? Because like you said, you don't want to get knocked out in practice. You have to limit the amount of shots you can take in practice, but at the same time, you need to take shots to feel them and to know that you'll react to them. Like the classic Mike Tyson, like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Like that can change
Right.
everything. So I think it's interesting. Like, what does that look like? And not asking you to, share secret Stout files or anything, but like, how do you guys train that? How do you monitor training to where you're taking some shots, but it's also a safe training environment to do so?
It's honestly been more of just, like talking to your training partners, being like, look, we're not trying to knock each other out here. We're trying to spar smart. We're going to take damage. So take it in the cage when it matters. Let's not be cracking each other while we're sparring. And I think once you know that, it's like, okay, now we can start to actually like touch each other. We're still working hard. We're still throwing our hands quick and our feet or whatever, you still know you got popped, but I think knowing that, and then you can constantly drill that in your head. So every time you see something, you're not like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's to me how I've kind of done it. And Stout's the same way. I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever stuck around for MMA practices there, but they're like, all right, well, we have little gloves on, so we're not like, we're not stinging them in there. So I think it's just, sparring smart, drilling smart. And my gym in Maryland, Bowerhouse, is the same way. We don't go in there, it's not going to be on anyone's record at the end of the night. So there's no point in taking chins in the gym.
Exactly. And you mentioned, Maryland Bowerhouse a few times. It was kind of funny. I had somebody reach out to me once, Jeff Hartman. He runs Behind the Steel Curtain, huge Steelers reporter and fanatic. And I've worked with him. He's a great guy. And one time he just reached out to me out of the blue when he saw I was working for 247 Fighting Championships and was like, hey, do you know Anthony Hogeback? And I was like, yeah, but why? Like, this is so random that you're asking me about him. And apparently he coached you in lacrosse, right? Was that the connection?
Yeah, he was my middle school gym teacher. I played baseball all growing up, and then he was like, hey, you should play lacrosse. Realized I wasn't gonna like even probably make the team in high school for baseball, so I was like, okay, I'll go play lacrosse for you, and just got obsessed with lacrosse. And he was a very good coach for me because it was something I didn't know yet. Like I had to learn the game from him, kind of. So yeah, he's a good guy. I like him a lot. Taught me a lot. Was honestly a pretty important part of like my growing up, because if I hadn't started playing lacrosse with him and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't have gone to college up here, because I got to college on a lacrosse scouting trip and scholarships and all that stuff. So yeah, my life would be a lot different probably if I didn't play lacrosse for him.
Dude, that's nuts. I didn't realize you went to college for lacrosse. That's pretty sweet. How did your college career, how did that go? Did you get to finish it out?
Yeah, I played all 4 years, started all 4 years. I hold like a bunch of the assist records for St. Vincent College. So
Nice.
I played there a while. I liked it. I met some of my best friends there that are still my best friends to this day. Obviously, like a pretty close knit group of guys on a team like that. So yeah, I wouldn't take it back for the world, even though sometimes lacrosse did annoy me and all of our teammates, because
of course,
yeah, because of the coaching hierarchy. And so, but yeah, it was a good time.
That's sick, man. Right now, obviously, St. Vincent's is buzzing and getting a lot of attention with the Steelers there for training camp.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to that? I assume you're not a Steelers fan, being from Maryland, but
I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm actually my family is a season ticket Raven season ticket holder, so definitely not a Steelers fan.
Yeah, I suddenly got a lot of technical issues and got to stop this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Baltimore sports through and through.
Dang.
But Yeah, I never really went to the training camps there just because I had to be back there in August anyway to go back to school, so I wasn't gonna go back a couple weeks early just to watch the Steelers play, you know?
Makes sense. That
Yeah.
definitely makes sense. It's a pretty crazy experience, I'll say, like, when I was on the media side and I would cover training camp there, like, just being able to get thousands of fans somewhere just to watch practice is it's crazy to me. Like, it's hard to believe. Like, imagine if you showed up to Stout one day to train and there were just thousands of people there to watch you train. Like, it's so weird
Yeah,
when you think
yeah.
about it.
It is really weird. It's a cool concept though. It brought a lot of attention to the school, like good attention, you know. And
Mhm.
I know the Steelers help out with like some funds there and stuff, and help build new buildings. And our lacrosse field was brand new because of them. They helped out in UNPC. So I'm not like necessarily like a crazy fan of the Steelers because just like from the sports aspect of it, but I know they're a good organization and they help the school out. So
That's
um,
sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. So, for your fighting career specifically, like we said, obviously you've got August 27th coming up, and then we've got 2 shows in October that obviously we want you to be a part of if everything works out. Where do you want to go with this thing, man? Because, like you said, lacrosse in college, it sounds like you have backup options if you need them or if you wanted them. But are you looking at this as a long-term career? Like, where are you at right now with your fighting career?
I really want it. I really want it to be. It's like it's really what I want right now. It's my focus. But it's like fighting's a little different, and it's like path because you obviously don't make a lot of money up until like you're in the UFC, and even when you're in the UFC, like you're still kind of struggling.
Hmm.
So there might come a point in time where I'm like, this isn't like financially like feasible anymore. But I think I'll always be involved, like with the sport of fighting and actively fighting until I'm probably like, until I realize like I just can't do it anymore because
Hmm.
it's not. But I mean, for right now, I'm not even really thinking about that. I just want to do it and put everything I can into it for the longest amount of time. Um, and honestly, my goal this year was to start my pro career. So hopefully, if everything goes well on the 27th, I'll be able to apply for my pro license in Pennsylvania and get on one of your guys' shows in October. So that's my plan. So because I mean it's hard to talk about the trajectory of my career when you're still an amateur. Like you're not even a pro yet. So it's like we got to go pro first before we can even start thinking about like how this could go long term. But in
Hmm.
my mind, I see it. I see that it can go that way if everything falls the right way. So it's definitely a goal that I want, but we just got to figure out how realistic it can be.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's an interesting crossroads for so many fighters. Like we just had Ethan Goss on the podcast last week, and he had 10, maybe even 11 amateur fights before he went pro. And then there's guys obviously like you or like a Taylor Cahill or Gavin Teasdale that want to go pro after even just 1 or 2 fights. And like you said, in Pennsylvania, I think you need 5 amateur. I want to say you need 5 amateur fights to be considered, but it could be 4, and it could be a case by case basis as well. I know a guy like Bo Nickel. Obviously, he didn't do it in Pennsylvania, but he came out and like basically turned pro right away with a background like that. Maybe they're a little more lenient with licensing you. Like I'm honestly not sure what all goes into it from that side of things, but it's always interesting to me to see guys how they view the amateur career versus a pro career. Like you've got the Ethan Goss, the Kama Worthy style, where you have a billion amateur fights and then go pro when you feel that you're way ready, and then somebody like you who feels like you're pretty seasoned and you're ready to get to a pro level and test yourself and see where things can go. So
Well,
is that a discussion you have with your coaches, or how do you look at that kind of difference?
well, my thinking of it all is like it is a case by case basis in the sense of like you have to figure out where you want to be and like how old you are because I don't want to be getting into the UFC when I'm like in my mid 30s because how much time do you really have? Um, and the way I look at amateur fights is like, especially with the pro rules ones of Virginia, it's like, okay, well, I'm essentially fighting a professional fight right now. I'm just not getting paid. The rounds are a little shorter, and it doesn't go on my pro record. So it's like, what's the point of racking up all these amateur fights except for the experience? But in my opinion, if you're training hard enough in the gym, you're getting a lot of that experience in the gym. And then you're taking damage in amateur fights that once you turn pro, it's like you're reset to 0-0. So that's my kind of thinking on it. And I'm already 25, so I want to get going. And but I mean, if I was a little younger, I wouldn't have any rush to be, starting my pro career. I would probably rack up amateur fights, as much as I could if I was a little younger. And I started a little younger, like in my early 20s or whatever. But yeah, in my head, I gotta get going. So
yeah. And that's totally fair. I think it's really interesting to see for a lot of people. And then you've got like a Sid Ross situation where she's 6-4. I want to say something like that. Like she's at that cusp right now where she should be turning pro, and she's still only 22, 23 years old. So like if you start,
honestly, that's a lot of amateur fights. Like that's a lot of amateur fights. If you're in the UFC, I mean, shit, there was guys in the Contender Series last night at 5-0 professional fights, and so I'm thinking to myself, like, they've had less fights than her, maybe. So, you know what I mean? Like, make it count. Make them, that you already want to win so bad. You already, like, you're doing everything in your willpower not to lose. It's not like just because it's professional, it's like, oh, it means a little more now. It's just,
Yeah, and I hate to keep using him as the example because he's probably the exception to the rule. But then, like a Bo Nickel is about to be on the Contender Series coming up, and he's 1-0. Like he's had one pro fight, and there's a chance he'll be in the UFC, or at least they want him on that developmental style deal to lock him in because he is going to be such a talent. But it's crazy, like even on the last UFC card, I want to say not the pay-per-view, but the one before that, there was a guy whose name was literally Blood Diamond, and I think he was 3-1. Like, it's crazy to see these guys with such little experience at the highest level already. So I think there's like something to it. The way you're saying it is like the game's changing. Like the need for that many fights isn't necessarily there anymore. Like these guys, these promotions clearly are looking at other things for their fighters. And with the level of training and the level of resources out there that are available, like fighters are literally just learning faster. I mean, you could get done training whatever technique you drill and then go home and watch the best instructors in the world break it down for you further on YouTube. Like you can learn outside of the gym, outside of the dojo, like never before.
Yeah. And like, I feel like just the progression of the sport, there's just better athletes in the sport now. And, like they're not necessarily like just these tough dudes who want to fight. They're these athletes that want to fight, and they're very good athletes. So like, techniques are progressing like a lot faster than they used to. So you might not need to be, starting just your amateur career and then like not getting the UFC until you're like 10 years down the road because guys just are learning faster. And there's a lot more promotions. You can fight a lot more often now. So yeah, I mean, that's my thinking on it. And I just want to like get going, and I think a lot of like these guys that don't have a lot of fights, you got to work hard outside of you just training and stuff. You got to get your name out there. Like I think I've done a really good job of getting my Instagram, my numbers up. I do YouTube vlogs. I try to stream on there just to get my name out there, and when I know I have a fight, I'm hitting people up for, podcast interviews, whatever. I want to get my name out there. So you got to put in that kind of time too, because that goes a long way. I mean, look at Sean O'Malley. He just got Peter Yan. And, that can't be based off of like his ranking, obviously, because he's ranked like 13, getting a one fight. But they know that he draws so much like attention and eyeballs and viewers. They have to get him going. So I think, we put the work in on both sides. It really shows. And those are where you get your guys that, blow the roofs off the place and sell all the tickets. So.
It's super true, man. People always want to be like clowning on O'Malley and guys like O'Malley who are clearly getting what appears to be preferential treatment. But the reality, it's not preferential. Yeah, it's not preferential treatment. Like I'll say it from our end, like even as a smaller regional promotion, like there are guys who sell more tickets, who generate more buzz. And obviously for your business's sake, those people need to be out there. Like, that's just how it works. It's a business like anything else. Like it doesn't mean that we think less of the fighters who don't sell anything and things like that. But like, there's a reality to it that does come down to business. Like it's a business, even at the UFC level. Like they know what they're doing.
At the end of the day, you got to pay, you know, you got to pay your insurance, you got to pay your, you know, the photographers, the video people, all the employees. Like, you don't do that unless you make money. And these guys that are making them more money, you know, they're gonna push them, and people get jealous of it and are like, oh, what the hell? Like, why is that not me? But you can't really do that if you're not, you know, if you're not kind of copying his game, or, you know, trying to do the same thing in a different, you know, maybe not the exact same thing, but, you know, just
Right.
getting your name out there, promote yourself.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like him has kind of the perfect storm of things where his fighting style is exciting. He has a whole look about him. He's obviously very engaging on social media and things. Like, that's kind of what it takes, though. Like, if you want to skyrocket into a Peter Yan fight, like, that's kind of what they're looking for. So you can't hate the guy for that, I don't think.
No, and at the end of the day, he's making more money than probably most of the whole bantamweight division. He's, you know, he's not even the champion yet.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. I like this, dude. A little YouTube short from you, wearing a nice shirt, I might add. A little
Yeah, thank
247
you.
shirt there. Yeah, dude, this is cool. I just checked out your channel. I'm going to subscribe
Thank you.
right now, actually. Yeah, that's cool stuff, man. So for people who are interested, like Anthony has little training vlogs, like travel vlogs, cornering fighters. It looks like a really cool resource for an upcoming fighter. Like, it's clear that you are getting yourself out there. I think this short, it said, had like 1.2 thousand views too. So good stuff,
Yeah,
man.
it's up there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm just working on it, just making, you know, like I said, or like you're talking about other stuff. It doesn't happen overnight. You just got to keep plugging away at it, especially YouTube.
Keep plugging away, man, because like you said, like everybody is doing YouTube now. It seems like the landscape is more cluttered than it's ever been. So that's just how it's going to be. But that's cool, man. That's cool that you're doing it. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see where your career goes. Obviously, we'll be paying attention to that fight later this month, and then we'll be talking after that, man. But I appreciate the time jumping on, talking some metal, talking some fights. That was fun, dude.
Yeah, and definitely hit me up if you're trying to get a metal podcast going. I'll hop in that all day.
Co-host, let's go. Yeah, let's do that, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. You go enjoy the rest of your day. Like I said, we'll be following up after your fight. Good luck in that, and we'll be catching up.
Thanks. Appreciate it. See you soon.
For sure, brother. Later.